And anytime we get an engagement or a new client, it's how can we make more sales or how can we meet our goal compared to where we are this year or what we did last year. And really, there's only two ways to do that. And we're going to sink our teeth right into it. So I'm going to do a lot of talking. I'm going to do a lot of kind of giving you my opinion, which is, I'm kind of set in my old-fashioned ways. But if there's something that you stall on or want to dig deeper in, certainly after the video, I'm a phone call away. So reach out to me because some of these things you may disagree with or may have relevant experience that is different than what we're seeing, and I love to see that. So feel free to reach out to me to dig deeper on some of these things that we're going to glaze over. But very simply, the two things that lead to sales and the two things that I ask first is how many showings did your team have or did you have on a particular product? And also, what was your conversion, your closing rate? So if we want to do better this quarter or we want to do better this year, it comes down to showing the property to more people. So in sports terms, that's more at bats, but then also trying to close or trying to convert at a higher rate. If we can do both of those, we're cooking with gas. And so ultimately, the beautiful thing, and the reason I have this photo up in the top right is I think too many people in our world think that they don't have a lot of leverage on making more sales. And I believe, as a salesperson first, marketer second, I believe we have a lot to do with the end result. I believe that the person representing your sales session or your sales environment has a lot to do with it. Now, they need your help, they need the developer's help. Sometimes they need budget, but it is a full team effort. It's not the universe, it's not the builder, developer, and it's not the salesperson. There's a combination of that and working smartly. So the beautiful thing is we do have a lot of leverage in that. And what we do as a baseline is we work off numbers like conversion rates. For us, about a 15% conversion rate, we can plan and budget on winning championships. Now, there's a lot of variables. Are you in a high traffic retail model home environment? If you are, that closing percentage is going to go down because you're going to see a lot more cold people. If you're in a destination property where your feeder markets maybe are a state or two away, where they have to talk to you to get accommodations, or they have to put a scheduled time to meet with you, your closing percentage may be higher because you'll see less people. But overall, for the organizations that we manage, 15% is a pretty good number. So if I take my planning at the beginning of a quarter, at the beginning of the year, and say, look, we need X number of sales, we're going to close at this rate. That means we need X number of showings. Well, I can generate leads that generate X number of showings to give my team a conversion chance. So by doing this, very maneuverable. Okay. And as marketers and as sales teams and as listing agents, as sales managers and marketing directors, we're tasked with a lot of things. How do we get the word out? How do we tell people about our event? Oh, don't forget about that new photography we just got. And it's really overwhelming. But the reality of what moves the needle, like if you're a builder, if you're a sales manager, if you're a listing agent, and you got to get that thing sold, if you look at these two funnels, extreme left of the screen, extreme right of the screen, the left funnel is what our clients or our customers go through before making a buying decision. Okay. The right side is our responsibility of representing that home or that community. Okay. So the left side, curiosity leads to interest, interest leads to engagement, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The right side, we've got a brand, we got to make people aware, we've got to generate leads, we got to generate showings or tours, we got to have conversion success. So we've got to do all these things. But if I can shrink this entire world down to three extremely important elements that move the needle quicker and more than anything that this guy at the bottom who's getting frustrated can do, it truly is those top three elements on the customer side. Okay. Focus on these top three: curiosity, interest, engagement. If all we focus on is the people in our cycle that involve that, let's talk about that first. Number one, curiosity. How do we get people's attention and I call it stop the scroll. So online, we talk to so many people. They see so much data. In fact, your competitors, your neighbors, the news cycle, everything is in that scroll. So if we're going to generate leads, how in the world do we get their attention with signage, with our model homes, with our digital footprints? That's very important. We're going to talk about it. Number two, once we've got them, how do we get them to engage with us? Like generating leads is one thing. Getting people to answer the phone or return an email, that's a whole nother set of strategies and implementations that we're going to talk about. So great, we stopped the scroll, we got them to register. How do we get them to come out of the quietness of our database and talk to us? Like that's where things get turned on, right? Generating leads is the easy part. Getting them to answer the phone, that's the hard part. So we're going to acknowledge that. And then if they do engage with us, how do we get them to meet us on property? Because that's where the rubber meets the road. That's where things happen. Like we typically don't sell things online, or we typically don't sell things on the phone. Yes, it happens, and it's going to happen more. But the majority of the time, we have to extract people that have registered through some medium, on site, registered in a model home, registered online, did a lead form. We've got to get them out or back out. So those three things. How do we get people to at least acknowledge we exist and stop the scroll for us? How do we get them to answer us, whether by text, by email, by phone call, or on site? Like that's the win there. And then of course, how do we get them to get out there? Okay. Here's something sobering. Why should we invest our brains, our energy, and our money in finding new leads? Regardless of how long you have been in the market, we have got to fill our pipeline, because the reality is our next 6 months future sales, probably about half of them are going to come from people you haven't even met yet. Now, can be interpreted two ways. Like, oh, wow, I've got to fill the pipeline. Like 50% of my sales are going to come from that world in the next 6 months. The other 6 months are people that we're going to nurture. We're going to talk about, the other 6 months. The other 50% of your sales are going to come from people that are already in your database that we got to get to step 2 and step 3 to engage with us and to meet with us. So it's an empowering thing. Like we have got to always be finding that next customer to talk to introduce, to nurture. Okay. That's why lead gen always is critical. It's always critical. It's probably your database. Let's call it your database, which is what basically lead gen goes into. It doesn't matter how big of a builder you are, how big of a developer you are, or how long you've been in the market as a general real estate professional. It may be your database may be one of the most valuable assets you have, beyond a spec home or beyond a model home or beyond the car you drive. Like that database is your business. And so generating leads for the most valuable asset, I just want to stress, no matter how you end up doing it or how much you end up doing it at, you've got to recognize I have always got to be getting the new clients in my database. Okay. How do we do that? And where do we do that? Okay. First and foremost, our existing relationships and owners. Like, are we disciplined enough to every time we engage with somebody to ask them for someone else in their life that we can share our brochure with or share our information with? Like, we're going to get into the cost of a lead. It's not cheap. One way to grow your database for free is to ask the existing people you're serving, customers, showing buyer agents, and your existing ownership group, is there anybody in your friend or family network that you wouldn't mind sharing with me so that I can send our 2026 plan book to? Okay. Asking for referrals 100% of the time is the biggest no-brainer way to grow your database. Like, we're going to get into some very sophisticated digital mechanisms, but sometimes we forget to talk about the simplest thing, which is always asking referrals. Now, look, there's a whole nother session on the proper way to ask for referrals. You have to provide a service. You have to be consistent with your messaging. They have to look at you as a professional. Yes, yes, and yes. But write down, I will ask for referral 100% of the time. Doesn't matter how the engagement was, if it was 30 seconds or 1 minute, put it on your electronic signature. Is there anybody that you would like to refer us to that we would send information to? Ask it all the time. You'd be surprised what happens. Buyer agents. Obviously, buyer agents are not going to share their database with you. However, the more that you serve them, the more that you empower them with information and access, the more that they will share with you when they realize you're not going to steal their leads, or that they realize that you're not going to take their lead out of their control. Once they trust you, you can grow a database organically through your relationships with buyer agents, but you better do it consistently and you better do it all the time as things update. Model home environment. Purposely creating breadcrumb signage, purposely creating a welcoming environment. A lot of people don't think about this, but your model home environment, if you're lucky enough to have one, many builders or developers either don't have it yet or don't have the ability to have that, and I recognize that. But if you're lucky enough to have a model home environment, you should look at that as one of your largest lead capturing venues and assets, period. A whole nother topic of growing that. For example, I go into a lot of organizations that have an existing model home. And when we go into source of our leads or source of our traffic and we get to model home, the entire room thinks it's kind of a fixed thing. In other words, well, we generate about 45 walk-ins a month. We've been doing that for the last 3 or 4 months. So that's kind of what this area will bring us. No, you won't believe how with a set strategy, you can get leads out of a model home like you've never believed. Breadcrumbs, QR codes, flutter flags, directionals, all those things work to generate leads. And so I would be, before we get into the meat of this, which is primarily digital signatures and lead gen, I don't want to forget about the things that are in your control today. Okay. On-site signage. So many times on-site signage is done from an informational standpoint, not a lead gen standpoint. Here's what I mean. How many times have you pulled into a neighborhood or pulled into a community where literally not only does it have a site map, not only does it have a box where you can grab the available home sheet or available price sheet, it provides everything that they need to answer their basic questions without you. So the developer, the listing agent, the salesperson pats themselves on the back because the sign looks good. It's informational. It's doing a service to the client, but it does nothing to grow your leads. So I want you to flip the script. I want you to look at impact stations or signs as lead gen magnets. Okay. Provide some information, certainly provide how to get in touch with you, but through QR codes, through a promise of something of value, they will register. They will register. Okay. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. Okay. Pages and landing pages, pixels and pixels, we're going to talk about a lot. Events is a great way to build your database, hosting open houses, going to a convention that your HBA puts on. Do not be dismissive of these opportunities for very inexpensive to grow your database. It's extremely expensive. Print media, same thing. All of these things, and of course, digital media, all of these things have to have a purpose on how you get somebody beyond just the pretty picture and the information. They have to have a funnel as if it's a digital online lead, and we'll talk about that. Okay. Certainly, let's get into digital. Digital, primarily with ad spend, are these platforms right here. And when I say Zillow, there's a million of them. You guys know them in your hometown. There's a lot of realtor-based lead gen programs like Zillow. We typically, in our neighborhoods, don't do them for a lot of the reasons. Number one, they're hard to be creative about what you're presenting because they're kind of a fixed format. But really, number two, they're very expensive. Like, if you're in a high traffic environment or a popular area, it's almost cost prohibitive to get one name, one lead. Yes, they might work, especially if you have a good contract or you own that market or you've done it for a while or you have your niche. It very well might work. But in my opinion, depending on what you're selling and where you're selling it, there are other areas that give you more maneuverability for a less cost of lead. And that's what we're going to focus on right now. LinkedIn is a great one, especially for you luxury brokers. Luxury buyers tend to spend more time on LinkedIn, and so you have more eyeballs. It's less of a of kind of that general marketplace, and so in LinkedIn there is a purpose. The other thing, LinkedIn does have some controls from a lead gen standpoint, from a paid lead gen standpoint, that give you even more demographic, psychographic thinning of your market audience than Meta or Google does. It's almost like the old Wild West. You can plug into LinkedIn. I would like this ad to show to people that have manager in their title or vice president in their title. For example, if you're a luxury community, you would want to focus on doctors, lawyers. You can do that in LinkedIn. So that's kind of the old way of doing things. But we typically don't spend a lot of money on LinkedIn because the results that have come back have been very few and very expensive. I just want to mention it because it does allow for some things that Meta used to do. Okay, Meta is probably where we spend most of our spend, and Google. There's a lot of good creative outlets. There's some good ways that I'm going to show you to lower the cost per lead dramatically that will blow your mind, that it gives you that venue to do. Meta has changed a lot. If you've spent time with Meta, I'll give you two things. Number one, I have not, and we have not figured out a boost ad that has worked. So if you're doing boost, it seems easy. It goes to it doesn't go to who you select your client list or audience to be. We've wasted a lot of money on boosts. So we focus on ad manager ads. Gives us more finer control. Now, Meta, to be all inclusive, has something called a special ad housing category. You guys probably already know that. It used to be that I could do a couple things. It used to be that I could fine tune my audiences to find the right person. For example, let's go again back to the luxury market. Let's say I had a neighborhood in Lake Tahoe or a spec home in Lake Tahoe that was $3 or $4 million. Okay. I used to be able to pick ages. I used to be able to pick some of the audience interest groups. Now, if I have a $3 million spec home, Meta requires me to show that ad to an 18-year-old. Now, look, I guess Silicon Valley, an 18-year-old maybe randomly might be able to afford it, but that's not ideal. So Meta has really watered down our ability to fine tune it. However, it still is probably one of the best platforms, and we're going to get into that, Meta being Instagram and Facebook, for getting your messages across and having a lower cost per lead. Same thing with Google. Google, the same thing, and probably I can fine tune the audiences even more than Meta. Plus, I can geofence down to a 1 mile radius versus a 15-mile radius with Meta. So Google has some advantages, but you better know what you're doing because we've left the Google ad campaign alone and come back and been shocked at the spiraling cost. So you better know what you're doing. There are some pros, there are some cons. Again, you can reach out to me. We can talk through these. Our main platform nationally is through Meta and Google. Okay. One of the things that you can do in Meta or in any of these is put in interests. The best way for us to find interests that works to put into an algorithm for an ad is to go to a hashtag generator. Find what hashtags are getting the most clicks. And for a new construction, you can put in whatever product you have, find the 10 or 15 greatest hashtags and use the hashtag logic in your audience and interest campaigns. So that's a really good workaround to find your customer through hashtags. And you can add affordability components to it. You could add apartment lists or apartment buildings or apartment finders. If you're a first-time home buyer builder, go in that vein. If you're a luxury group, kind of go in that vein. It just depends. And then work that hashtag. These are easy to search for. Work that hashtags to put in your buyer interest. The other thing to multiply your audience group conversion success, if it's an organic post or a paid post, is to share and tag with your affiliates. So any vendor that works on your homes, get them involved. Any clients or architects that have worked, share and repost through them, and you'll get that multiplier effect. Certainly, we want to do that and encourage that. So if you have a builder meeting, tell them what you're going to be doing. I'm going to be posting or tagging you. Would you repost it? And get that machine kind of spiraling through others, right? All right, let's talk about geofencing. Obviously, we can geofence where our messages go in any of these platforms, LinkedIn, Meta, Google. We can say where we want our post to appear or our ads to appear. Okay, that's effectively what geofencing is. And I think too many people instantly just kind of geofence the property location. What I want to encourage you to do some other things. Okay, first and foremost, find your competitor's property and geofence them. Okay, they may be within a radius of where you are, or it might not make sense if you're a spec home builder, but think about it in terms of traffic. Where do you want your buyer that drives into to see your message? Okay, so pick your state, pick your zip code, or find it on a map with an address. And anyone that goes into that geofenced location that meets your audience requirements will see your message. So it's powerful to get your geofence areas right. So what other areas could we creatively geofence? Certainly the property that you're trying to represent or sell. Certainly your competitors. Okay, anyone going in there to consider them should also see our ad. What else? How about your feeder markets? Is there an exodus coming 60 miles away because of traffic? Is there a feeder market 2 states over? Find that feeder market and do some test samples. Like do one here, do one here. Maybe you get 25 leads from this and none from that. Fine, turn that off and go there. But think about your feeder markets, obviously, right? What else could we geofence? Trade shows or events. A lot of the times in a lot of our markets, there is a real estate trade show circuit that our East Coast region has. They go to Long Island, they go to Tyson's Corner, Virginia. They go to Greenwich, Connecticut. They go to 7 or 8 stops. These people are going into a convention hall to learn about communities to retire, relocate to. Why not geofence on that weekend? So find ancillary areas. It could be an HBA event. It could be a home and garden event. And the cool thing about any and all of these ads, you can do them for one day. You can do it for 1 week. You can do it for 1 month. You can set whatever budget you want. But when I set that geofence up, every time your quote client goes in, they see your messaging. So think about geofencing from some alternative ways other than just your property. Shopping venues. I mean, I don't know. We've had properties all over Orlando. We've managed properties all over South Florida. I mean, there are some high-end outdoor pavilion marketplaces. Why not geofence places in there? If you are a first-time home buyer community builder, why not geofence apartment complexes or state fairs or events where you know that your clientele are going to be, football games? Again, find those hot spots, spend a little time, and get your message in there, right? It's one thing if you don't do this, your budget's wasted on markets that aren't applicable to you. So make sure you pay attention to this. And of course, like-kind communities. It could be an area in town that's not even a community, but it's just a real estate district that's a hot spot. Or maybe it's an area with older homes where people that are kind of aging out of that and they're looking for something to downsize in. In other words, find those markets that make sense for who you're going to be sharing your message with. Okay, let's keep going. Generating new leads. All leads need a strong organic foundation. So what does that mean? Would we agree that in today's age, your social media profile is probably seen as much or more than your www website, right? So I deal with builders to this day where their last post was 8-9 months ago. Now, if we believe in first impression and background checks, in other words, I'm interested in your home, the first thing I do is go to social media. First time I do to go to LinkedIn, and I see that you haven't done a post for 6 months. Well, you're not tech savvy, you're not market savvy, you're not with it. Okay. So the other thing that happens about social media, there's so many rules to do it well. Like it literally takes one person full time doing it properly. So one of the things that we try to install from a consulting standpoint or for an management is we set up a template of topics that make it easy to make sure that your social media is speaking the language that you want when people see it. And social media is not about pretty picture, pretty picture, pretty picture, pretty picture. That's not what it's about. As a business account, social media is there to megaphone the messaging that you want to have out. And your competitors aren't thinking of organic social media that way. They're thinking of organic social media very flat, very one-dimensional. So here's the rotation I would like you guys to somehow have the discipline of following, okay? Maybe you pull out a printed calendar of the month and you write down these topic headers that we're about to go over. And in a day or 2 days, I promise you, you could fill a post calendar up for your entire month and not have to worry about it till the next month, okay? Unless there was a contemporary need. So let's talk about the things that I want you to rotate on. The first and the most obvious, and they align with what your digital footprint should be on your website as well, is your company's 5, 6, or 7 USPs, your unique selling proposition. If you look off to the right, it's kind of blurry. I know you probably can't see it. The first thing we do when we engage with a client is we do a marketing charrette to extract from the decision makers of that company what are the main elements that make you unique. Because as a marketing company, I don't want to flutter around and not hit some arrows, hit the target with some arrows. I want to be concise with my messaging. Okay. It could be family owned. It could be the way the HOA is. It could be the topography of the land. It could be your included features. It doesn't matter. It needs to be defined. Let me tell you another reason why your USPs need to be defined. As a decision maker in your company, whether that's a sales manager, an owner, a builder, how many times have we heard someone else on the phone, in person, online, kind of presenting your company with a different message? So by defining your USPs, you know specifically it's being done even when you're not looking as that decision maker. Okay, 5 to 7. So come up with those, spend some time as a group, debate them, and whittle them down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. Okay, your people and their expertise. I can't stress this enough. Too many building companies have become building companies, and they talk in units and spreadsheets. Anytime we manage a neighborhood that has a builders guild of 3, 4, 5, 6 builders in a given neighborhood, the builder that has the best personality wins by far the most. It doesn't even matter if they have inventory of the ground, doesn't matter if what their pricing is. The builder that relies on the superintendent of the day, right? We all have dealt with large regionals, nationals, and they trade up supers, and those supers end up almost in a sales role presenting that product to the client versus the local custom home builder that talks about their start and their philosophy and their standards, and they connect with that client, right? So if we believe that personalities matter, why the heck wouldn't we feature that on a rotation of our monthly calendar. I mean, it even could be outside your organization. Yeah, you feature maybe the salesperson or the builder or the architect that's used, or even the framers that are used. Like, make your building company, make that product have a human persona. You only do that if you remember to rotate who's in your office and have fun with it. Okay. Add personalities to your organic messaging. Remember, your organic baseline of your digital footprint is being judged every day, multiple times a day. How good does yours look? Okay. Your past projects, that shows expertise. Okay. That shows expertise. So obviously, when you finish a home, I would hope professional photography is done before keys are transferred and people move in. Any kind of look what we did shows past projects and past ability. Okay. Your message of the moment. It could be the incentive that expires this month. It could be the house that is getting ready to be finished. It could be the event that's coming up. The message of the moment should also be what's being laid out in your paid ads. Okay. It's that thing. It's that trigger. It's that, oh, wow. It's what makes people act. So again, we're rotating this content organically, which is free, through your major important digital profile. Okay. Your product focus of the month. Maybe it's that one house that interest is killing you. Maybe it's that one house where days of the market's climbing. So you focus on that maybe more than anything else going on in here. Maybe your people and their expertise is 2 posts a month, but that product focus of the month is 2 a week. Okay. So it reminds you to focus on that need of that builder. Testimonials, super important. Talk about your company with other people's mouths. Okay. You won't believe how people stop and lean into testimonials. Okay. You won't believe that people listen to someone else talking about their experience with you versus you talking about the experience. Okay. So go out there and find those and use those in your organic post. And then again, I'm a big believer on recent wins and successes should be posted everywhere. Last month we welcomed 3 new families. You don't have to get into who they were and what they closed at. Don't worry about some of those details. It's about showing success. It's about showing that people just like your customer that's looking at you online bought last month. Okay. Always framing success. Let's say you didn't have a sale last month. What are you supposed to do, John? Reframe your success some other way. We're so blessed to have welcomed 15 families this year already. Like, find the positive. There's 100 ways to say the same thing. Find the positive. Every single month, rotate. That's your rotation. Okay. Your USPs, rotate them through. Your people, rotate them. Past projects, message of the moment, product focus. Make sure your calendar checks off all of that, because that's the baseline for your ads to work. Also, I would recommend making sure your website is not a one-time and walk away from it forever. I think someone in your organization should rotate images, maybe change a banner badge out or some message on the front at least once a quarter. Why are all of our builders' websites fixed for multiple years? I get it. It's hard to change. I get it. But people are watching more so than ever. In fact, they want more information without you, the salesperson, than ever. So we really got to be cognizant of what we're saying and that it's current in what we're offering. Let me keep going because we're going to slow down. Again, your online digital footprint better be right. So find somebody that can do a good job keeping your brand standard. Man, I have got a haunted house list of images of organizations we've taken over and taken out. Okay. And I mean empty furniture rooms with no lights on and cobwebs you can see. So whomever is in charge of social media, I get it. Many times it's kind of pushed off to the bottom. You're being judged by your digital footprint. So it better look lock in step with what the brand you think you are. Okay. Let's keep going. Stop the scroll. How are we going to stop the scroll? How are we going to say, pick us, or at least think about us, right? How are we going to do that? So here's what we're going to do. What's your message? Start with your USPs. It should include the obvious, but also insider information, right? In other words, whatever this bold message is, and by the way, if you're doing an online ad, think of it as a billboard. If you drive I-95 or I-40 or whatever your highway is, a billboard is meant to hit you with something literally in about 8 seconds or whatever. I'm making the number up. I mean, you're driving 70 miles an hour. It can't give you the details. It just gives you some flash point. That's essentially what a social media ad is. To stop the scroll, we have got to have a billboard style smash to slow your roll. So again, we have to think about something traditional messaging also with bold messages. So, provide something of informational value. We'll talk about that. Have your CRM dialed in. We'll talk about that. In other words, when a lead comes in, make sure that it's addressed and hit and organized immediately. The goal for a social media ad, the goal for a QR code out on site with a sign, the goal is a registration. The goal is not to sell something. The goal is not to book a tour. The goal is not to inform. The goal is to get their registration. Okay? Super, super, got to take that in, because there's a lot we want to say. Yeah, but our homes are better because of. That's not what this is about. This is about offering something that they can't get without you. Some map, some video, some informational piece that you have to register to get. That's the key with your messaging. Okay? It's not about, we're a really good company. Learn more about us at www. No. It's about something that stops me in my track for my scrolling and says, I'll register for that. So bold statements. Again, depending on the sophistication, the price point, the luxury, the market, who the buyer is, you're going to massage this. But online, get some bold statements. Like, I love what these guys have done. This is a first-time home buyer in Alabama. Obviously, they're dealing with people that are coming out of rentals, that are coming out of townhomes, that are coming out of condos. So why not play on what they want to solve and improve? Okay. Tired of the dog barking next door. Find out how you can own a home and pay less than rent. That's not going to sell a home. Let's stop real quick. I hope everybody on this call realizes there is no such thing as a silver bullet. There is no easy button with any of this. It's only best practices to get the most amount of at-bats that we can do to tell our story. And so we've got to come out and stop people in their pain points. Tanner Ridge, think it's impossible to pay less than rent every month and own a home? Think again. Bold statements. Okay. Over here, this is for one of our self-serving webinars. Ask us about how we sold these homes before construction. Those type of things pause me enough, if I am interested in that, to at least dig more, right? Offer to provide something of value they cannot get without you. So what does that mean? Okay, let me tell you a few more rules. So should include the same message with multiple formats. So what do I mean by that? So let's say we have an ad campaign, it's $500. And the ad campaign is about a open house or a grand opening. That's an easy one to at least kind of have a consistent message about. You don't do one creative ad for join us at the open house. You may want to do 3, 4, or 5. That budget of whomever you decided to go with, LinkedIn, Google, or Meta, is going to divide that up. And the algorithm will do some crazy stuff beyond our ability. Let's say we have 3 or 4 images to tell the story about this webinar. One of them may even be a carousel ad. After about a week or 10 days, whichever image in the carousel ad that got the most time or interaction, the algorithm will move that to the front. So there's so many tools that are happening in the background that unless you feed it with multiple versions of the same message, you won't get that advantage. Here's a great example. Off to the right, that's me talking, okay, at one of our sites. Off to the left is an AI spokesperson. We just typed in a script and the person started talking. Okay, it looks real enough. I don't know why she's sitting in a car with rain, but if you go in, it's crazy what happens. We looked after a week, and it was like almost 2 to 1. People picked her talking over me talking. I can't explain it. Maybe there's fatigue with me versus her being new. The point is, you don't know which ad version is going to kick or get the most results. So the other benefit of doing multiple creatives for one ad campaign is you get tremendous A/B reporting that you can grow off of the next month. So I encourage you to do it differently. You don't need to do an AI person. You can grab, two people, or maybe it's a photo image, doesn't matter, but mix it up. Okay. So that bold statement with various ways of presenting it. And lastly, very important, whomever is handling your social media, if you are venturing into doing ad campaigns or even boosted or even organics, the file dimensions so critical. I don't know how Meta and these other places have got to their conclusions on things. There's literally 15 different versions, from stories to reels to organic Facebook feed posts. There's so many. So they got to be good at whether they're using Canva, Adobe, however they're producing it, they've got to load it in the right size. How many times have you seen an ad with letters cut off or heads cut off or small or miniature or something not working? They will take your money and they will present it, but you will be judged by not knowing what's going on. So make sure you get that video size and dimensions correct. Down there at the bottom left, you can see all the various sizes some of our ads are being run with. Okay. So how do we get somebody to click? We've got to give them something. So what are some really cool tools to promise somebody? Okay. One of the ones we do are off-market inventory homes or our interactive site plan. So let's think of it a couple different ways. Let's think of it as I've just drove through your neighborhood. I didn't go to your model home if you had one. I'm just driving through on my own. And I keep seeing on either lot signs or informational signs, click this QR code to see all the prices of our homes. Okay. So let's say 25 people drove in the course of a week. Could we capture 5, 10? I bet you did. I bet you would. Like, I have something of value that you can use right now on your phone. It's like Zillow micromanaged. How many of us go somewhere, go for a walk or go for a jog? We pull Zillow out just to see how much things cost. Let's do Zillow in our own work. So on site, an interactive map or the promise of an interactive map that includes things like off-market homes or coming soon homes or want to see what things sold for homes, like things that you can't get without me, people will register for. And what was the goal of lead gen? Was the goal of lead gen to sell a home or to get their information? Because I know I'm going to have to nurture them. I know I'm going to have to meet them, get their information. Another way that these interactive site maps work are online. You're providing something that can't be found on Zillow, on Trulia, on the MLS. Something like that gets people to tick, that's to register. So be very creative. Another one's a floor plan book. If you're part of a builder that has a plan series, we have found one of the most requested and easiest things to produce is a floor plan book, a digital floor plan book. Okay. It can include prices. It can include not prices. It doesn't matter. It's about fulfilling something that they can't get without you. And I'm telling you what, why do people come to open houses? They like to walk through and look at furniture. Why do people love to look at floor plan books? Well, they just do. It's like Southern Living started it with their plan book series that you used to have to buy for like 99 bucks. Like, a lot of people want to dream about their next house by starting with floor plans. So can you imagine a beautiful VMAG? You don't even have to pay for printing, that could be delivered right on the spot, but they got to register. Okay. Matterport tours. You want to see an inside of this. You want to walk through this home that's not even done yet. We do virtual Matterport tours all the time. People will register for it. They will absolutely register for it. Plan talk, property walkthrough. My point being is get creative on what your carrot is, where it makes people say, yeah, I'll register for that. Like, I'd like to know that. Okay. What we don't want, contact us for more information. That's what your competitor's doing all day long. Or register for our VIP list. Really? I'm going to register so you can harass me perpetually? No. You got to provide something of value. If it's on the digital world, provide some of value. If it's on site, provide some of value. I want that registration. How about this? I mean, for those of you that are blessed enough to have a model home in a retail environment and people come through, do your team struggle with getting accurate, truthful registrations? I bet they do. I mean, I'm going to raise my hand. You all can raise your hand. I've used a fake name with fake phone numbers. So even when they're in your mousetrap, even when they're in their model home, if you don't, on that registration tab, have some strategy to get accurate information, you're wasting your time. Like if you literally say, oh, by the way, my boss makes you register. Will you register over there? Fake. Or how about, if you guys don't mind, if you want to register, we've got this unbelievable interactive map that is basically made like Zillow. We allow you to see what's available, what's coming, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, yeah. Accurate. You see where I'm going with this? Like, this is all about lead gen. It's one of your most valuable assets of your entire company. We have got to treat every part of our lead gen like gold. And those two red dialogues at the bottom, they ain't gonna work. They're not gonna work. Okay. Oh, here's where we get cooking with gas, guys. This is big time. Send them somewhere specific, not your email and not even your website. Okay. So if I register on your website, or if I go to register on an ad in your digital world, or I go to click a QR code, I don't want your email. What am I going to do? Now you're giving me a homework assignment? Do you know how many times I see that? I don't want to fill, I don't even know what to ask you. So game over. I'm not doing anything with you. Okay. I want you to go somewhere to register that is a dead end. We call it a landing page. A landing page provides the registration and what you're going to get, and that's it. It is a dead end. Okay. I don't want you going to the website before you go to register, because I don't want you seeing everything and then saying, I don't need to register. I just saw it all. So landing pages are a dead end. Okay. And that's what we want. They also provide something of informational value not available without registering. What is that? Okay. This is where we're really going to cook. So check this out. So this is a meta. This is gold, guys. Like, this is the actual gold. When we realized it a little bit ago, like, this is where we take people. So if you look at this, is a screenshot from a Meta Ad Manager campaign of a couple of our clients. Okay. At the top, you see landing page views. Okay. Let me see. Landing page views, landing page views, landing page views, meta leads. Let me tell you what that means. Look at this bottom one first. This bottom is an ad campaign for a builder that ends with a meta lead form. Okay. So you see that image on the right side of this. When I click, I like what you're saying, I'd like to learn more, it goes to this meta lead form off to the bottom right. Okay. Where it auto populates your information because you have a verified Instagram account, you have a verified Google account, you have a verified Facebook account. So that information auto populates and it's accurate. Okay. So because Meta knows it's accurate, should be, and it auto populates easy, they know that you're going to get more leads and they're going to charge more for them. So in this example, this developer spent about $2,000 over the last 30 days, got how many leads? 98 leads through this ad form here that went into his CRM at $20 a lead. Okay. That's what leads cost nowadays online. In fact, you're lucky if you've got an audience, or you're lucky if you're getting something under 10 right now. I've seen 6s. I've seen 8s. I've also seen 40s and 50s. So leads are expensive. So now here's our alternative to that. And I'm not suggesting that's a bad run. In many, if we have the right budget, we do both. We do a meta ad lead form campaign, but this is where I really want you guys to sink your teeth into. It's an awareness campaign. An awareness campaign doesn't take you to a lead form, it takes you to your landing page. It takes you to your dead end cul-de-sac, okay? And takes you off of that platform, takes you off of Google, takes you off of Meta, and it takes you to your cul-de-sac, to your dead end, okay? And now they're in your world to register. So the benefit of that is, look at this. Now, a much smaller budget for the last 30 days, it got 420, 2,000, and 1,500 landing page views. So now it's on me. I got 2,000 people to go to my landing page. Out of that 2,000, how many do you think you can convince I've got something of value, just register, and you'll get it. I promise you, your cost per lead is way cheaper. let's say every 20 people that go to your landing page register. I don't know, what's that math? 20 times 30 cents, 40 cents. Like, it's really good. It's really good. So what I want you to do is create a really good dead end landing page. Many times your CRMs will do it for you. Many times your MailChimps, Constant Contacts, HubSpots, they have a landing page generator. You don't even have to hire a designer or anything like that. Okay, they have that. That's where you want your clicks to go to, not the lead form, in my opinion. Lead form still works really well, and we still do a lot of it, but your budget's got to be a little higher, okay? So we want it to go somewhere. Now, there's an additional benefit by doing this landing page mechanism through an awareness campaign. The additional benefit is pixel magic. When somebody goes to your landing page, we have the ability now to capture that data in a lot of different ways. Number one, it allows us where that customer, anytime that they go on your website or your social media platforms, many of your CRMs will alert you. I mean, wouldn't you love that? If Bob Smith from 6 months ago now saw something that he's on your website, because of the pixel data, your salesperson could get an alert that Bob is looking at your website right now. In fact, he's spending a lot of time on 419 Park Street. Okay, that pixel data you could only really get because they went into your landing page. What else? It allows for retargeting. So now the groups that you use, Google, Facebook, or Meta, whatever, they have campaigns that just chase around people that went to your landing page. So now we can continuously hit them much cheaper constantly because they have that pixel data. Let me give you one more thing, and it's a game changer. Freaking game changer. Just remember that chart I showed you, $20 a lead. We want to get your cost of lead way down so you could spend more money on lead gen and get more people involved. Check this out. What if there was a way to capture the data that people went to your website or your landing page but didn't register? We now have a way to do it. We have a third-party Google Analytics campaign that we spend a lot of money on for our clients, that if you're good enough to get people into your digital life, you can capture their data. Email, phone numbers, full names, even job titles. Okay? Now you are kicking some tail. So think about that. Lead gen is about growing your pipeline with a name. Lead gen is about getting as much in that queue that your budget possibly allows smarter. So the smart way is through awareness campaigns, an unbelievable call to action of something of value that they can't get without you, right? Looking at everything we do as a lead gen campaign, on site, in the model home, in digital world, all of it, and then maximizing that pixel magic. Okay. I know I'm so behind. Just deal with me. I'm going to rip through it. If any of you old timers have seen the movie Glengarry Glen Ross, you know what I'm talking about here. If you haven't seen it and you're in real estate, you got to watch it. It's an old one, star-studded cast, Alec Baldwin, Jack Lemmon, all kind of like incredible. And they're land sales guys, and they're complaining to their boss that the leads the boss is giving them are no good. So they all want the good leads. And Alec Baldwin is this, terrifying sales manager. He says, you don't deserve the good leads. And he gets into it. But we got to remember, a lead is just a potential customer that was curious. Remember that first bubble? Now, here's where I get a little passionate. Stop overqualifying. Yeah, these leads, they can't afford what we've got. Okay. Well, there's ways to maneuver to do that. But I can't stand it when an agent says, well, these leads, they haven't even talked to a lender yet. So, like, your job's to get them excited. Your job's not to just show them what they can afford, right? So we got to get in the mindset of not listening to people say, we got to overqualify. These people can't afford us. Okay, if you are selling $1 million property and people keep calling you and they think your budget's 250, yeah, change your ad. That's an obvious one. Okay, that's an obvious one. And there are things you can do to slowly showcase what your pricing is from, so there's not that dramatic, misrepresentation. Yes, you can do that. But what I don't want people doing is on a form having 30 questions that you have to answer. Have you talked to a lender yet? Yes or no? What's your budget? Yes or no? Guess what, guys? I ain't even met you yet. I'm not going to tell you that. I'm not going to be honest about it. So why are you overqualifying me? We just met. Like, we are literally in the first chapter of relationship. Because here's what I know. Good, bad, or otherwise, if I try to size you up or qualify you to make my salesperson's life easier, that's not what this game's about. I know that if I treat you with respect, regardless of what I know about you right now, things happen. Because people's lives change overnight. They get promotions, they get divorces, they get relocated. Because I talked to you today and you were very loosely interested, do I delete you? Or if I talk to you today and I hadn't even talked to a lender yet, do I delete you? No, I know our time's coming. I know I'm going to nurture you. I know what's going on here. Plus, I just met you. You think you're going to be honest with me? Tell me everything yet? No. I got a lot of work to do. So make sure your teams are not stressing, I want the good leads. I want the rich people buyer leads. There's no such thing, guys. You got to kiss a lot of frogs to meet a prince. Got to kiss a lot of frogs to meet a prince. Yes, your marketing has to match what you're selling. I do not mean that. But if you overqualify me, a customer, too early, you lost me. Okay? So I just want to stress that. Let's not fall into the trap about thinking there's a golden goose that spits out rich people buyers. No such thing. Okay? No such thing. Now we got to get people to answer. And we got to be really, really sophisticated with that. And that's where now it flips a little bit, where that team member adjustment goes to the salesperson. Immediacy wins. Like, if you get the alert, reach out to them immediately. We all know the longer gestation period of I clicked, I'm interested, to you reached out to me, it falls off tremendously. Okay? Falls off tremendously. And a reach out can be a text. It could be a singular email. What I don't want is some corporate looking thing that gets caught in spam. So be aware of that. Okay? So be aware of that. Not corporate info, but from you. Call to action to reach out to me for something insider. Like, I'll skip down to the builder's timeline doc. I love the timeline doc because it shows when a home is reaching certain stages. That may make me reach out to you from the database and say, hey, we do need something that could close by the end of the year. That might be something for us. So come up with something that you're leaving voicemails on, that you're leaving a text message with, or that you're leaving a singular email with that gets people to say, I do want to talk to you about that, or yes, I do want to communicate with you. Look, a returned email for step 2 is a win. A returned email in this day and age is a win to be celebrated. So generating the lead, step 1, yay. Getting them to answer us is the real win. Now you know I'm a human, and now I can influence you downstream. Okay, there's those timelines. We use them for milestones in a community. Like, you're going to want to be looking at this property before the clubhouse gets built. You're going to want to look at this community before the front entrance gets done. Or our first model home will be done by then, and then there's a price increase. So we can leverage community-based timelines or product-specific timelines with framing, foundation, cabinets, those kind of milestones to get people to come back out. Again, just one idea that you can use creatively. Okay. Generating showings. Let's start with the most basic. Let's go back on site. We kind of get fixated on the universe delivering things from a digital standpoint on site. Model home. Post and respect hours that are best for our customers, not for our staff. Okay. Do we need our on-site teams to be there at 9 o'clock and get out of there at 4? Or would we rather have them there from 11 or noon to 6, where people can stop by in a retail environment on their way homes? Do we treat our model homes as retail storefronts, honoring published hours? A lot of your competitors don't. They come in late, they leave early. We're trying to get showings. We're trying to get in front of people. Like, if you've been in the business long enough, are buyers convenient to us? No. They call us over the holidays. They call us on Saturdays. So we've got to at least have our model home or our office, let them know where to find us and when to find us. Your competition doesn't even do that. So again, on your organic rotation, make sure your model home is a place of engagement. Okay. Suggest times with all emails, texts. Propose when you want to have a call, or propose when you're going to be out there. Hey, I'm going to be out there Friday from 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock. I've got the model home and another spec home that's getting ready to close next month open. I'd love to meet you there. Hell, I can cut and paste that individually to 10 emails. Propose a time. Okay. Don't just say what's good for you. I'm going to be here. Okay. Open house. Make life really easy to engage with you among many. Webinar. Like, I love one-to-many marketing. I've got a developer that used to do a tax benefit Zoom. And I was like, the tax, who in the world signing? That sounds like a root canal. They used to have 50 people. They were up in Pennsylvania. They said the tax benefits of retiring and relocating to Pennsylvania. They used to have 40 people show up when they do a Zoom. They had a tax advisor and their salesperson. What's another easy one? First-time home buyer seminar. How to get a loan. You'll have 30 people show up. Those are engagements. Like, an engagement doesn't mean someone calls you and says, hey, Bob, guess what? I'm coming to buy your home. Yeah, that's great when that happens. But engagements are pulling you in to show you who I am and what I do. So I love webinars. I love education seminars. I love Meet the Builder. I love Meet the Architects. All engagements to pull people out. Okay. Again, events. I think you should be doing an event every quarter. You should have a customer-based event, and you should have a buyer, agent, broker, professional event once a quarter, at least 4 times. Okay. Boots on the ground are meaningful. So if you got to pay for tacos and you got to buy some drinks, boots on your property are extremely meaningful. Doesn't matter who they are. Okay. Doesn't matter who they are. Time to nurture. So now we've got them in our system. We've tried to get them to engage, and now they're in that cycle, First and foremost, if leads and if your database is very important to you, like we have said it is, you got to move past an Excel spreadsheet. Get a good CRM. A good CRM protects you from spam laws, opt-out laws. A good CRM gives you efficiency. It gives you that pixel data. So invest in that CRM. Didn't we say 40% of your buyers are from people that don't exist in your life yet, but the other half is sitting there in the database? Are you going to literally let an Excel spreadsheet be the gatekeeper for the most valuable asset of your future success? So invest in a good CRM, okay? Only hit them with corporate communication every 2 months. The quickest way to have somebody turn you off is to saturate them with e-blasts that look corporate. Corporate emails are very important, but only at a rate of maybe 1.5 per quarter. The rest of the time, it should be from the desk of you with your simple header, with your simple address. Get away from the info at, get away from the sales at, have it John at, and you will be protected from getting pushed in spam. You will be protected from getting, thrown and opted out. So all this is very important. Okay. Enterprise level email. I also, if you have like a GoDaddy email, they will get caught up in your nurture campaigns. So you got to invest in whatever service you're doing. Like we use a Microsoft professional enterprise level email. That's the best way to make sure you don't get caught in spam or junk. Because the worst thing you could have, and we've done it, we've been victims of this, is where you keep communicating with the database, but 75% of your database get caught in some junk thing and no one's seeing it. Okay. So you got to invest in your name and an enterprise level email sender and a CRM that protects you from do not call list, opt-outs, etc., to really be cooking with gas. So something to consider. And then have a plan, right? Like this is where the salesperson's got to step up. This is where the salesperson makes the difference, right? They have to have a plan. Like, one of the things I ask an organization about when I first go in, tell me about your rankings. What does an A mean? If there's 10 people in the room, I get 10 different definitions. Simple things about database organization will make your database and your nurtures way more important. Like have tags. This person was interested in condos. This person was interested in golf course memberships. This person is interested in this budget, that budget. Every time you enter that data, your CRM will be more important as it moves forward. So be very, very organized about how you run your CRM. Okay. This is a flow chart on the screen of if you know what your rankings are, what the communication schedule should be. Okay. It ain't easy. It's tough, but that is a good flow chart that all of you can navigate. Lastly, I'm going to end with this. It takes a team. The builder has to invest in it. The marketing team has to execute, and the sales team has to take it over the goal line. So all three have the responsibilities. We want about half our sales coming from our pipeline CRM. We want about half of our database, half our sales to come from our new clients that we're striving to get every day. And I want 20% of every given year's sale coming from referrals. Like if I didn't put that 20% on there, they wouldn't come. I want to sell to people that are friends and family of the ones that have said yes already. Okay. So to end with this, I'm going to send you this entire recording slides. You guys can reference them, look at them, call me as a resource. We have an entire digital management team. We've got a rendering team, we've got a sales management team, and we've got a social media and a digital management team. Our digital management team has 3 bundles, effectively called them light, medium, and heavy. And depending on how you engage with us, we handle all of what we just talked about on your behalf for one low price. Okay. So even right down to the data capture, when somebody goes to your website, every person that goes there, we capture their data to farm to prospect to. These have that built in there. So again, reach out to us. Please let us know what you disagreed, what you'd agreed. Get that landing page, get that dead end capture moment for those pixels to really do wonders, and get your your lead gen budget like really maximizing and kicking tail, getting people in front of your sales team. Then we flip the script on closing or converting the people we're in front of at a higher rate. That's a whole nother part of the puzzle. But right now we want more at bats. So again, follow this program, influence it with your personality and your product, and you guys are going to be cooking way above your competition, I promise you. Okay. So again, thank you guys. Great seeing you. We'll talk again next month. Haven't come up with a topic yet. With the holidays, we'll figure something out fun and we'll keep this party rolling. Talk soon.